Well, here we are. It's sort of what I would call a very dull. We're not used to this weather in the United
Well,
Kingdom.
we
Gary
all
King,
got
hello, mate. How are you this morning? And thanks for joining us.
my pleasure, sir. My pleasure. I'm
Well,
just
firstly, I'm
keeping.
not. I haven't been knighted, so let's. So that's it.
Not
Right.
yet.
Let's just run through a little bit about yourself. How you sort of got into the drag racing fraternity, if you like, and how it all worked.
Yeah, do you know, I've I've probably been skulking around in the shadows a bit for years, but yeah, how did it all start? My dad was an engineer and a very good one, mechanical engineer, and I used to stand on beer crates watching him take engines apart and gearboxes and just be in awe, really, you know. And I always had it in my blood. And there was only one thing I was going to do when I left school, and that was mechanical engineering, working on cars, which I did. Funnily enough, I mean, but when I was a kid, when I was sort of 8, 9, 10, uh, I was into drawing, and I just spend not every night, but as long as I can remember, drawing hot rods and drag cars, and yet. None of my family and friends, my dad, while he was into cars, he wasn't into hot rods and drag racing. So where does that come from? It's just in my blood. I remember
Did you sort of used to draw drag cars or hot rods and
I
things like that?
probably, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I have still got some of my drawings that I did when I was 8 or 10 years old. I remember doing the Mongoose McEwen's, it
Wow.
was a yellow and blue Corvette, if I remember rightly. And yeah, drew that. Had mongoose right down the side, and I must have been at 8 or 10 when I did that. And
Incredible.
then drawing on my school bag, on the old sack used to. I was old school bag back in the day, and on the lid of the school bag, there were you just did. Some people did. Usually, it was LP covers and things like that,
Yeah.
and with me, it was hot rods. And again, no one else in the school did it, just me.
So even in
I
them
was
days, you was into hot rods. That was you sort of. I mean, I don't know your age, but was you then sort of buying custom car magazine and that sort of stuff as well?
custom
Give you
car.
inspiration. Yeah, custom cars.
Custom car, rod and custom.
Yeah.
That's where my pocket money went for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the time. And yeah, I drew a black and white. It was a good bit of art actually, even if I do say so myself. I had a little business going at school, painting people's bags. And I had, I think it was a Model A pickup. It was in Rolling Custom. It was a black and white image. I can't remember if it was I can't even remember why it was in there. Obviously a long time ago, but I just loved the image. And it was a black and white of a Model A, might have been a B pickup truck, and then a Model T, one of those. Yeah, it was a Model T, and I had that on my school bag for quite a few, well, a year or two, I can't remember. But then Street Machine came out, the first issue of Street Machine with Henry High Rise on the
Oh
cover.
wow.
What an awesome cover! And so it pained me actually, but I painted over the Rolling Custom one, um, and that's what I had on the school bag. Yeah, and then I redid it with Henry High Rise. So that was that was my school days really. But I mean, at that point, I never went to a drag strip.
Yeah.
Went to the odd show, the hot rod show. Used to have a few in Bristol.
Yeah.
Used to go, and my mum said, I always said I'm not very easily impressed apparently. But she said she always remembers how impressed I was going around. Yeah, Rod and Custom Show in Bristol. Yeah, so it's always been there. But then I went to New Zealand when I was 16 with the family,
Yeah.
and I think not the only reason I went, but one of the main reasons I went was because I could drive when I was 16 over there.
Yeah.
So we all moved out to New Zealand, and the money, my pocket money that I'd saved up, I bought an old, it was a 107E Prefect
Wow.
with the 997 or whatever it was overhead valve. Um, I could get that sideways on gravel, or if it if it was wet.
Early drifting.
Um, and do you know what? I was going out with a girl. We were living in Auckland, and I was going out with a girl for a while who lived. We were the south side of the bridge. She was the north side, and the bridge was a big, long climb of a big arc of a bridge. And that prefect, um, prefect 100, that had the old vacuum wipers, windscreen wipers. And there was a leak on the tank that I never got around to fixing. So if you were at full throttle, which I had to be to get up over this long bridge for any length of time, you lost all the vacuum and the wipers would stop. So you'd have to back off the throttle and the wipers would do a wipe and then back on the gas again. And I'd just about make it to the top of that bridge because you're getting slower and slower. But them were the days. So
Well,
yeah,
that's memories. That's great memories.
because
So just before we move on, when you first started watching drag racing,
yeah,
what's your sort of favourite class, or was it street? Was it, what sort of,
always.
yeah,
Yeah, do you know, I went first time I went to a drag strip would have been in the 80s, Avon Park, and I can't remember what year, mid 80s, mid to late 80s. And I remember going up with friends, probably went up with Rich Llewellyn and some of the Bristol guys. So it would have been a hot rod event. And I remember walking up into the stands just as two top fuel cars went down.
yeah.
I just you can imagine that's my first taste of it was fuelers going down the track. So, but always been had a lean towards the hot rod side of it and the nostalgia side. But I love it all. I really do. I don't. I in my posts and in my photography, there's a little bit of everything, and that's because I love everything. I really do. I could rave. I love the engineering. I've built cars. I've worked on them. I've tuned them. I've just always loved them. So whatever it is, I can see
That's
the
quite
appreciation.
interesting. You're even tuning the cars. You got a fair bit of knowledge with that. That's incredible. I wouldn't have a Scooby Doo out to tune a nostalgia funny car, or uh, a top fuel, or even like super gas or anything like. I wouldn't have a clue because I'm not that sort of mechanically minded. I
Mm,
just love what they do, the engines and everything else. But it's always one person in that team will tune that car or
yeah.
bike or whatever, and it's fascinating how people do it.
If I'd ever had the time or I don't know if I'd ever got involved with it, I'd have been doing the fuel systems for sure. That was my little niche, you know. My dad could pull anything apart, engines, gearboxes, axles, and I've done a little bit of everything. Um, but my niche was fuel systems. I always understood fuel systems, and towards the end of my mechanical sort of days, working on cars and then trucks, actually, it was always the fuel systems. So I would have been working on the fuel systems, and I would have.
I mean, the cars that are out there now, it's incredible, and the fuel systems on some of them cars.
Mm.
You get the likes of Dave Wilson comes along and does this and does that, and you need this and you need that, and like the pumps and everything else, and incredible. You understand that, and when I'm talking to the likes of Dave Wilson and them sort of guys, I'm in total awe of it all.
Well, I annoy a few of them now and again. I try not to. I probably annoy them just poking my camera in, to be honest. I try and stay out of the way, and that I love those kind of shots anyway. I just take if it's people shots, I'd rather they're a bit candid, and I try and sneak in when they don't know I'm looking and take my photos. But I speak to the old one about the fuel systems, and I could spend a weekend talking to them about what they're doing and how they're doing it. And I, I did a lot with electronic fuel injection and tuning, and towards the end actually from 2007 until 2022, I was working on truck fuel systems, and I was doing dyno work. I mean, I loved it, but we were putting LPG into diesel engines in the big trucks into Arctic units. And that was all about lowering the CO2, but making them cheaper to run. But you could
Wow.
increase the power as well. So we had to uh, I would be just spend hours on the dyno doing the mapping, doing the fuel mapping for it. So yeah, I've got a little insight into all that and how it works. And we spent most of our time cheating the engine management system because the engine management system thought it was still in total control. And they've got a lot of sensors these days monitoring emissions. And if it thinks it's using too much AdBlue or too much of this or not enough of that, it puts warning lights on. So we were just always trying to
Beat the system.
cheat the system, and it just got too hard to do that towards the end. And
Yeah.
for the last probably 8 years, I was just doing it as a on a consultancy basis, just going in.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do understand it, and injection systems are my thing, and LPG really is effectively petrol. So we were we were mixed. We were putting it's not petrol, but you understand it's certainly not diesel. So we would take 25% of the diesel out and replace it with LPG. I won't talk too much about all that because it's irrelevant really. But that's my background, and that's
Yeah,
what I've done.
incredible. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
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 That is just, you can still carry on using that nowadays. It's incredible.
You could do it. Yeah, absolutely. You can do it. It was just from a business point of view, it was getting harder and harder to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So let's talk about your shenanigans in drag racing with Street Eliminator and things like that. So how did you get involved in that?
well, I built my first V8 was an Aussie Charger, which that was another little story that I just because I'd spent some time in New Zealand, I recognised this old Aussie Charger, a Valiant Charger. So just looking all forlorn and unloved in this parking lot, and I used to go buy it for probably a couple of years, thinking no one's doing anything with that. No one, and I found out who owned it in the end, and we made him a cheeky offer and bought it. And so my first bit of drag racing actually, and I had loads of fun in that car. It really was. I remember going up to I don't know, I can't remember. Trying to remember back at that long where I was and what I was doing, but I think it was probably Avon Park, and I think they had the Supernats at Avon Park maybe in the
Yep, Super
80s,
Nats.
just as a
Yep.
one-off. It was a one-off thing, but me and four friends were just going round and round and round trying to beat each other in this Aussie Charger, and we were taking seats out. I think I can't remember if we took bumpers off. We were just trying to go quicker all weekend. So that I know I used to do a lot of run what you brungs in that, and then I started. I would go down to the Springer in Bristol, which was a very cool meet back in the day. Um, and that's where I started talking to the likes of Merv Magoo Barnett. And probably met the Grants down there, Neil and John, and started just doing the run what he brings mostly at Avon Park back then, and then started building a hot rod. So still had the Charger, but started building a 1934 Ford three-window coupe. So that was a 34 corner body. Um, and that was a 34 corner chassis originally. So I built it as a road car. Uh, I think I finished it in 1989, maybe. Spent a couple of years building it in the garage at home, and we stuck the glass in on Thursday night. Took it for an MOT Friday morning. Passed the MOT. As a no, I better not say too much about that, Addy.
Oh,
Anyway,
classy.
passed the MOT,
Yeah.
and we jumped in it and drove down to Newquay for the run to the Sun. So its first trip was from Bristol down to Newquay. What we do when we're young, eh?
Mm,
And that had a 440 because I had the Charger, so I was a Mopar boy then, aren't you?
mm.
Put a 440 in it out of a Jensen, and so I kept tickling the throttle, giving it a bit more and a bit more, and then some. I was south of west of Newquay at one point, went for a run, gave it a good blast, and then someone pulled out of one of those side roads with a caravan. I was like hard on the brakes, And for those few seconds, you're thinking of all those welds that you've done on the front
Yeah.
suspension and all those things you've hand built. But it held up, and yeah, so I was racing it, runway brungs, hot rod drags. Got one or two dirty dozens from the hot rod drags back then. And then to answer your question, 94, I think, I saw an advert in Custom Car. Tim Bagley it was for the inaugural, can't even say it, the very first street eliminator. And I thought, oh, I fancy that. So I applied, and yeah, so I was in the very first year of the street eliminator with that car with a bench seat, running. I probably started in the mid 12s. I think I got it down to an 11.8, just tickling it, just easing it down.
In those days, did they, like they do now, they go out, you have to fill up with pump gas, and did
Yeah.
they do all of that? That
Always,
always
always
been that
had the
way, yeah?
cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And there's always been some quick cars. And to be honest, then as probably now, I always did it on a budget.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a spare fan belt when I was racing against people with spare engines, maybe. Certainly had spare gearboxes and things out. But it was a great bunch. Steve DeMantis, and I can't remember if Steve Pateman was racing in the first one, but Alan Sims and
Seems,
yeah,
yeah. Mm, yeah.
um, Ian Hook, yeah, all those
That
guys.
one. Yeah, yeah,
So, but then in the last race, I think it was the last race that season up at Avon Park. Do you know what? Whatever I tried to do to that car, it wouldn't go faster than 11.6. And I think my guardian angel was looking down and saying, you know what, kid, that roll cage isn't up to it because it wasn't really up to it. It wasn't. It wasn't built as a race car originally.
no,
It was built as a road car. Had a bench seat in it, and if I had a guardian angel and he or she decided that I wasn't listening and thought, right, we're going to throw a rod. So it threw a leg out of bed going across the finish line at Avon Park around about, I think, 89, 90. No, when would that have been? No, mid 90s, 94, 95. And I took it home and I thought, right, I'm going to rebuild it into more of it'd still be a road car, but more of a race car.
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, spent 3 years rebuilding it and built the chassis. One of the first things I sold the old rolling chassis, the old 34 corner
yeah,
chassis as a rolling chassis. Went to the swap meet, sold a load of stuff, and the new car, yeah, came. I sketched it all out. I knew how it was going to sit. I drew it. Um, we all have help from friends, don't we?
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I can weld and I can fabricate. I can do all that. So I made the chassis. Had help from Kelvin Walker, Merv Barnett came in on the odd occasion, and I had good people all around me all the time, really. So Zane Llewellyn, bless him, he made a loom for the first one, and people like that are always just so
yeah.
helpful, aren't they? So, and do you know what? Yeah, I cut the floor out of this perfectly good glass body, as you do. But yeah, so then got back racing in the '99 Street Eliminator. So and that ran a best eventually 10-1. So
There you are.
so close to a nine,
Yeah,
darn.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah, yeah.
everyone loved that car, and I certainly did. It turned out how I saw it in my mind's eye, and yeah, you know, it had a fuel cell and it had bucket seats and a proper cage, and but then I split a business partnership up. I'd been in for 10 years at that point in 2000. We bought a house, moved into a house that had been empty for 20 years, and my daughter was born all at the same time. So something had to give. So foolishly, I sort of made the decision to sell it. And do you know what? That car has not turned a wheel in anger ever since. It sits forlornly and covered in dust and old bits of rubbish, and it's strange, isn't it? What a waste. But there we go. Might get it back one day, but if I
You
did,
never
I'd
know.
have to
You
rebuild
never
it
know.
again.
There's chances there. You
Yeah,
know, that's
yeah.
the thing. So, all those days, great stuff. And then you obviously with your art and everything else you used to do when you was early doors and school bags and everything else. You know, tell us a little bit about what you do now with your photography, your drawing, and everything else.
Yeah. Well, after I sold the car, you lose your identity a bit. That's how I felt.
Yeah,
And I was busy with life, busy doing the house, busy with the family. So I used to then just go to, I would go probably three, maybe four maximum drag meets a year just
yeah,
to watch. And I was just a fan for years, but I'd always take my camera. And uh, and then I got divorced in 2014, and I was a single parent for a couple of years. So time marches on, doesn't it?
oh yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
you're giving sort of get over all that and shake yourself down, and then 2018, 2019, I just had an opportunity to do loads of work on the fuel systems. I was going over to Ireland a lot and up to Newton Aycliffe, and I spent, slight exaggeration, but most of 2019 working weekends and everything, and treated myself to my first decent camera. Uh, so I always knew I had a good eye for photography and always enjoyed doing it. But in my head, I always thought they weren't good enough for public viewing, so to speak. But people are always telling me to share, I should share my photos. So I started sharing them really around about 2000. I started sharing what I was taking.
Yeah,
And you know what? I've only ever had one negative comment, and that was only because I didn't include enough bikes in a post, And that was like
that is yeah. Well, you know,
what 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 I
one
should have said
one
to that
just
person
one
was
comment that
one
that's
comment in
not.
all that time.
Yeah,
Everything
I
else has
know.
been
That's
positive, and I love
crazy.
it. And even if I get a negative one, which I will, uh, you put it out there for public
Yeah,
consumption. So,
absolutely.
but I just trust my gut, and I'm so humbled and always chuffed when people invariably say good things about what I do. So,
I think so. I've seen some of your stuff. It's amazing. It is amazing. You know.
appreciate that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, it is because there's a lot of photographers out there. Some of them have been around a very long time. You know the Andy Wiltshires and all them sort of guys. He's as nutty as but not. I don't mean that now, but we used to have many, many laughable conversations. But those guys have got it. You've got it because the stuff that you do as well. And so where do you go now and take your photos? Is it up at Melbourne or where do you normally take your
not
photos?
made it up to Melbourne. Not made it up. I must. I've promised a few people
Yeah,
that I
I'm going up
will.
there as well. Don't worry about that.
I've promised and I will. But
Avon
it's
Park,
just
yeah, Avon Park and all that shake here now. I used to go a lot. And I
I
used to do the ambulance up there as well, so that's cool. You know.
Yeah, our paths have crossed many times, I'm sure. I have so many conversations with people. I camp next to people up at the pod and you chat. Been coming here for 100 years and we both have. And then you think, why haven't we spoke before? But you don't, do you? Because there's a lot going on. But no, I don't. Currently, it's just Santa Pod. I was taking photos just as a fan from the stands and sharing them. But I had this idea for the photo frames
Yes.
that we do. I sketched it down on the back of a fag packet as you do. It was a doodle, just a rough sketch for based. So the shape came to me is based on a dropped and drilled I-beam.
Yeah.
Uh, so the top part of the frame's the right way up, the bottom one's reversed, and I sketched it out, and then that stayed as a sketch on my desk, and then got lost under paperwork or whatever, and then the time goes by, and I do it again, and I kept thinking I must do something about this. And then eventually, 2004, my current partner, bless her, she said she kicked me out the door one weekend and said, "Go and make one." So I made one out of MDF just to see
Right.
how it would look. Sprayed it with silver paint, brought it home, hung it on the wall, and we both stood back and went,
Well,
"Yeah, that's pretty cool." So that encouraged us to make one. So it was, I mean, whilst I'm an engineer, I wouldn't be able to drive a CNC machine. So we had a local company. I did the design for it and they made it. And we took the prototype up to the Hot Rod Drags in 2024 and showed a few people, and everyone loved it. And everyone said the same thing, you should protect the IP on it.
Copyright, yeah.
So we covered it up in a blanket again and brought it home. And so then we went through that process of, so it's protected in the UK and Europe.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then you go through a process of trying to get logos and building websites, and but this is all spare time stuff.
Yes.
Uh, just so happens these days I do property maintenance. So I was doing the truck fuel systems for quite a while, and mixing the both. But to look after my daughter, it meant back in 2014 to 2016, take her to school, etc. It suited me to do property maintenance, and I'd
Yeah.
obviously refurbished houses in the past, and so that's what I do. So what I do even now with the photography and field and frame is my part-time.
It's like a hobby, but
It's a
it's
hobby. I'd love it to be full-time. I would love
yeah,
nothing better than do photos all day long
yeah.
and sell those frames. But we just got to hustle it along gently, and
So now then, the frames. Yeah.
yeah.
You've now got one that you're donating for the British Drag Racing Hall of Fame. How did that come about?
That came about with a few conversations over the last year or so, fleeting usually because we're both busy with Colin Theobald.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
And I just said we'd like to donate one, give a bit back.
Yeah.
Um, and and I had a few ideas, but I let him choose really, and that's his baby.
Did you?
Well, I let him choose yeah, who would benefit from it.
Yeah,
I said your decision. So we had a chat at the main event, and he just saw only one place for it really, and that
yeah.
was
British Drag Racing Hall of Fame. Yeah,
yeah, at
yeah,
Dragstalgia, and putting an auction on it. So the good thing is people get to see the frames. So
yeah.
so
How many have
people
you got? Just the
really.
one there, is it? Or
Currently, yeah, there'll be one up on the auction. Now, whether we have any more there, I've been contemplating trying to get one in a few pits here and there. Maybe the Oscars. I need to
yeah,
speak
yeah,
to the boys.
yeah, yeah,
They need to have room for it, and they need to be happy for it to be there. But if it goes into anybody's pit, especially the big one, the big frame is a meter wide,
right.
855 high. There's
Oh,
one on the wall. If I turn that around,
oh, look
that's
at
the
that.
that's the big aluminium one there.
Wow, look at that.
So that's a meter wide, 855 high.
Yeah,
So that's got ain't no saint in that one. That was one of my
yeah,
anyway.
superb.
So the thing is, if I can, is to how to publicize it. We could have a little presence. We could have a gazebo, a market stall, whatever they like to
Yeah,
call them. But it's all an expense. So it's how to promote it
yeah,
without
yeah.
without just.
Providing people are prepared to wait for it, they can order it with you and then do it as and when.
Yeah, they can order them on the website. They can just message
Yeah,
me. We've got a steady flow of them starting to go out now, and then I won't say they always sell themselves, but pretty much, if you had one in your lounge, people come around, see it,
well,
and it's a talking point. And that's why the theory behind having them in a pit was that if you had your car, and I just see the Oscars because they just suit it perfectly. They don't
yeah,
know this, but they do now.
yeah,
Um, and then you can have the people that are sponsoring you. I can put that around the edge of the photo. You have a photo of
superb.
whatever the car is, but people stare at it because it's a thing of beauty, even if I do say so myself. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, no, it
so
is.
because they're staring at it, you get attention. It makes so that's the theory. I might try and get a few. So we'll have one definitely in the marquee that's going to auction,
Yeah.
but I've always got them in the van anyway. So if anybody
Okay, well,
wants to
that's
see
fine.
them,
So
um,
what we'll do, we're going to get this out pretty quickly. As soon as
yeah.
Dragstalgia is at the end of the month, we will get that out in the next week or so. I'll make sure we do. And so that will build some interest as well.
Yeah.
Share this wherever you can as well. Get some interest. Are you going to be in the marquee, or are you just going to be out and about?
I'm rather hoping on trackside photography. So yeah, you asked about the photography, and since Dragstalgia last year, I've more often than not been trackside at a pod. So very grateful to Callum and all the media guys at Sands Pod for
Yeah,
trusting me with that,
good guys. Yeah,
it's an honor, and yeah, doing my best for the teams
yeah,
everyone really to promote the
excellent.
sport we love. So,
Uh,
I'll probably be trackside, but I will be going down to the marquee as often as I can.
yeah, come and
I'm
find
saying
me. Come and find us. Yeah,
I will do. But
yeah. Find
Kirsty,
me and Dave, and then we'll. Yeah,
my very lovely partner, she'll be in there quite a lot,
yeah.
answering questions and promoting it. Yeah.
Superb. Okay,
Um,
what's her name?
Kirsty.
Kirsty. Righto.
And
Okay.
thank you, Kirsty, for putting
Yeah.
up with me
All
and
right.
putting
Yeah,
up with
yeah,
me
yeah.
with a camera to my eye, especially when I'm at the pod all the time. So yeah, then my two main thank yous are to Kirsty and to Callum and everyone at the media centre really for
And that reminds me, Colin Theobald that actually should be doing one with me pretty soon. So yeah, he's due on here. So,
yeah, good. Well,
so yeah,
lovely man, and what he
yeah,
does, what all the commentary team do is a top job,
yeah,
and
exactly. Oh yeah, can't
and
beat that. So
yeah,
what we do, obviously we'll promote this as well and get it out there for you. We'll catch up at Dragstalgia. We will be there. We'll be looked after with the Bates is on that one, so that's cool.
yeah. Well, I need to go and see them as well. So
Yeah, yeah. If you need anything, then just give us a shout. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that there'll be it'll be the auction, good calls. Go and take a look at it at Dragstalgia and put your bid in the auction. Um,
Superb.
yeah.
Gary, it's been amazing. We'll get this out as soon as we can because what you're doing is incredible. Carry on doing it. Do not lose that interest because it's amazing.
Well, I never can put a camera down, and the passion for cars is never going to go away. And so yeah, I'll keep doing what I'm doing. No problem at all. Yeah.
Okay, now in a second it'll say recording stop. We'll just carry on chatting after. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So Gary, keep. Thank you very much indeed. Carry on all the good
Thank you,
work.
Nigel.
Get back on the track at some point as well.
I will. I will. Thank you.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, that is Gary Keep. What an absolute top man. Thanks for doing this so early in the morning as well. Thank you very much indeed.